It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
All right, this first question came from Caleb. Caleb says, I just switched jobs and I'm thinking of cashing out my pension at my previous employer. How do I decide between cashing it out, rolling it into a Roth IRA, or keeping the annuity for retirement? So oftentimes, Brian, we see folks who are changing jobs, right? We just live in sort of a very mobile society now. And one of the things that we're faced with whenever we change jobs is if I had a retirement plan at the old place, what should I do with it? And we have seen a litany of different decisions people have made with that. What should they think about? What are some ways that people should approach making that decision?
So Caleb, first, thanks for the question, because typically we get this in terms of you have a 401k or 403b, and we give you the options of whether or not you should roll it over to a new plan or keep it where it's at. Pensions are a little different, and I don't mind sharing. That adds a completely or an additional element to your decision-making process, because pensions, remember, 401ks, 403bs, they're defined contribution plans, meaning that your employer basically puts the money in and then says, hey, congratulations, I'm giving you this money. It's on you now how you invest it and what it turns into. Good luck. Defined benefit plans that pensions provided, just like the name implies, you're no longer looking at the contribution that goes in. You're looking at the promise for the benefit that you'll receive at whatever date is stated in the plan. Usually it's 60 years old, 65 years old, depends upon how your plan was designed to consider what retirement is. Because it's a defined benefit, not a defined contribution, you have to see, hey, how generous were they in those assumptions when they set this thing up? So right now, you guys know I did some governmental work for over a decade of my life, and one of those jobs I did actually enables me to have a pension at retirement. Now, here's what's funny. That pension's not going to be very big. It's only like $400 a month, but I've done the math on it. For what I put into that plan to receive $400 a month starting when I'm age 60 just seems like, are you kidding me? This is too good. It's going to sit there until I turn 60 years of age because they were way too generous with the assumptions that they put in that plan. I'm going to take advantage of that. So that's the first thing. You have to figure out, were they too generous to do? And on a Q&A show, I can't give you all those things, but that is the first step in your homework. Figure out, is the plan very generous? If you find out it's pretty mild because maybe they were already having some financial troubles with the pension, or they've restated the rules or the goals, and you find out this thing is too lean, that I'd rather take that money and invest it myself. Now you get back to more traditional. And I think it's just three decisions, Bo. If you want to walk them through, whether it's the rollover, whether it's to keep it, give them the layout of that stuff.
I'm going to give you the three actual decisions. There's a fourth one. We don't do the fourth one, right? There are three decisions you can make. You can either leave it with your old employer. Perhaps if it's a pension, perhaps the options are good, or if you're able to maybe direct the investments, maybe it's like a cash balance type plan, and it has really good options, perhaps you want to leave it there. That's option number one. Option number two is, okay, perhaps you have a new retirement plan that you can roll it into. Perhaps you're moving from a 401k to a 401k, or your pension will allow you to roll it into a 401k. And the new plan has low costs and robust investment options, and maybe you're taking advantage of something like backdoor Roths so long as they're available. Maybe you want to roll it into the new plan. So that's option two. And that keeps it all inside of the ERISA-sponsored, qualified employer retirement plan structure. Well, there is a third option where maybe you don't want to leave it in a 401k or a 403b or inside the pension, and you can do a tax-free rollover into an IRA. You just open up a traditional IRA or a rollover IRA, and you can roll that into an IRA. Well, then it's not captive to any specific employer, and you open up the entire investment universe in terms of what you want to invest that in, or you could roll it into a Roth IRA. Now, just note that if you're rolling it from a pre-tax account into a Roth IRA, it's going to be a taxable event. So you want to make sure that you account for that and you can have the taxes to pay for it. You notice the fourth thing that I did not mention was cash it out. Because one of the things that makes me so sad, and I have family that have done this, and it breaks my heart every single time. They move from one job and they say, you know what? I had that old 401k. I only had $4,000. I just cashed that out. So when they cashed it out, not only that they have to pay ordinary income tax on it, both at the federal and the state level. But because they're under 59.5, they also had to pay a penalty on it, a 10% penalty. That is a huge, what I'm going to call convenience tax to get to those dollars. Now, I should do the math for them showing if instead of you losing that money, taking the cash and spending it on something, you rolled it over into an IRA or rolled it over into your new plan and let those dollars grow to retirement, you would be amazed at what that seemingly insignificant decision actually cost you.